the disclosure requirements are different for various industries, various geographies as well. So, what you know about publicly is only the tip of the iceberg, essentially, in many cases. There's lots of small attacks that happen that are very impactful. There's larger ones that, they're able to fight through depending on what type of defenses they have and cyber insurance, these other means. And so the big things we're seeing are more and more companies in manufacturing be prone to two specific types of attacks. One is account compromise, which is the example I just gave, is they get username and password and access and then expand from there. Another type of attack that's very common is called supply chain attacks, which is using third party, either individuals like I described, or you have a HVAC vendor or a supplier that you have a relationship with, and you have people come in through that means, because the companies often have dedicated IT connections from the main company to their suppliers, thus the name supply chain attack, and coming through those things. And the second element of that supply chain attack name is, what is the impact? So instead of attacking perhaps Apple directly, or Amazon or some other thing, you attack their third-party suppliers and supply chain attack. And there's three examples of these. Number one is software-based, so they go after the software of the company. The second is the firmware, which is what the software runs on, and third is just straight-up hardware type of attacks. So to summarize that, there's account compromise is very common, supply chain attacks that we see, and then finally the most common way that we see attackers get in, regardless of industry, is through email phishing, which is when a user gets an email and it either has a link to click to something that turns out to be a site that's bad and hosting malware that gets onto your system, or it's an attachment that is disguised to look like a flyer for your insurance or information on your W-2 or something about, some sort of sale or something like that coming up. And that attachment actually has embedded in it, hidden within it, malware or a computer virus that could get onto the system. So I wanted to preface that a little bit before I give kind of direct answers on what are kind of three of the biggest cyber attacks in manufacturing. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of different means. So it's hard to say this is the biggest one ever.